This is the story of Ameen and the Ghoul. I will tell you of a place called the Valley of the Shadow of Death, and of a man named Ameen, who was once compelled to travel there alone through the night. Now Ameen had heard dreadful stories of the ghouls of the valley, how they may assume any shape they choose and allure unwary travelers to their destruction. He thought it likely that he would encounter such a creature, and so he prepared accordingly by placing an egg and a lump of salt in his pocket. Now he had not gone far among the rocks when he heard of a familiar voice cry out, "Hello, Ameen! It is I, your friend Kareem. You are going the wrong way. Come this way." "Stop, my friend," said Ameen, "until I come near you." "Ah, I see that you are not Kareem. You are a lying demon. But it is just as well, as I traveled here hoping to meet a ghoul and prove my strength upon him." The ghoul was astonished. "Son of Adam," he said, "you do not appear so strong." "Appearances can be deceitful," said Ameen. "Here, let me show you." And taking up a stone, he said, "This stone I can see contains a fluid. Try, if you can, to squeeze it in your hand so that the fluid will run out." The ghoul took the stone, and after a short attempt, he flung it back, saying, "This thing is impossible." "Quite easy," said Ameen, and placing the stone in the hand that held the egg, he squeezed. Now the ghoul heard the breaking sound, and he saw the fluid flow from between Ameen's fingers. Ameen, taking advantage of the ghoul's surprise, picked up another stone and said, "Here, let's try this again. This stone I can see contains salt. Crumble it between your fingers." The ghoul confessed that he could not. "Ah, let me do it," said Ameen, and placing the stone in the hand that held the salt, he crumbled the latter to powder. The ghoul had grown quite alarmed. What if this man's dreadful strength should be turned upon himself? There could be no safe place near this man. And so he thought the best plan of action would be to conciliate his friendship with his newfound companion until he found a means to destroy him. "Most wonderful man," said the ghoul, "will you please grace my abode with your presence? There you will find every luxury, and you can rest before resuming your journey." "I accept, friend Ghoul," said Ameen. "But mark me, I can see through your designs as surely as I saw through that salt stone, so take care or you shall suffer." Ameen followed the ghoul to a large and dimly lit cave. "Here I dwell," said the ghoul, "and here I would delight in feasting upon, feeding my guest." So Ameen ate heartily of the meal that was provided, and he laid to rest on a bed piled high with the finest blankets and coverlets and pillows. Now the ghoul had no sooner lain down than he fell fast asleep. Ameen, awake with anxiety, slipped from beneath his blanket. He stuffed pillows beneath the coverlet to make it appear that he was still there. Then he hid beside the bed, watching and waiting. The ghoul awoke hours later, and taking a stick the size of a tree trunk, he snuck silently towards Ameen's bed. He raised the stick high, and he brought it down mightily on what he assumed was Ameen's head. He smiled, and then he repeated the vicious action 7 times. He danced back to his bed and was just laying down when Ameen lifted his head from the pillow and said, "Ah, friend Ghoul, what insect has disturbed me? I counted the flap of its little wings 7 times upon the coverlet. These vermin are very annoying." The ghoul's alarm at hearing Ameen speak at all was great, but this increased to perfect fright when he heard the 7 mighty blows described as 7 flaps of an insect's wings. There could be no safe place near this man, and so the ghoul fled for his very life. Ameen congratulated himself, and he surveyed the wealth that he was now surrounded by. Ameen took up a sling and some stones, and he set off towards the road to find a means of removing his newfound treasure to his home. He had not walked far down the road when, in the distance, he could see the ghoul returning. He was carrying a club, and he was accompanied by a fox. Ameen quickly determined that the clever animal had undeceived his enemy, the ghoul, but fortunately, Ameen's presence of mind did not desert him. "Take that," he said to the fox, slinging a stone straight through his head. "Take that for not following my orders." "That brute," he said to the ghoul. "He promised to bring me 7 ghouls so that I might chain them and carry them off to my home. But I see he has brought me only you who are already mine." The ghoul took flight, bounding so rapidly over the rocks he was soon gone from sight. Ameen continued on down the road to the nearby town, where he hired mules and camels to remove his treasure to his home, and he became a man of wealth, all owing to his wit and his cunning art.